Hello, this is MattiAce, and I want to show you a little bit of gameplay from Cobalt when I'm flying around on the server when it's practically empty. And I want to show you this because in terms of balance, which is what I've been part of discussing a lot lately, it favors air much more the less the server is populated. There are many reasons, and one of the things is what you see here. Right there, before I pulled up, you could see the engineer actually started rendering for me. I missed it in the gameplay, but I only saw it now after I looked back at the footage. Now, due to the lesser population, you will mostly get attacked by one lock-on at a time when you get locked, and most likely also one or two ESFs when you are facing another enemy aircraft. This will of course favor the more experienced pilot, but it's also a good opportunity for less experienced pilots to get in their aircraft and try to get some flying time and get some practice going, because you're just less likely to get attacked by, let's say, players like myself. Now, maybe it's my imagination, but it seems to me that if you stay in the same area for a little longer, the render distance is increased at least a little bit. Anyway, it is when the server is almost empty that you can fly around and rocket pod like this. Quite a number of pilots knows about this. Staying away from platoon-sized battles is the way to go if you want to get some kills with your rocket pods. Now, it is of course just as easy to counter an ESF. It's just that when the server is less populated, people just tend to not do it.
Yeah, I'm redeploying this.
Now, here's one of the situations that really defines the difference with high or low population. I got locked, I flared, and I still take the risk of staying here even though my flares are on cooldown. Now, this would normally be a certain death, but I took the risk getting at least one barrage of rockets on these infantry players again, and I was able to fly away taking damage from only one rocket.
Fertig. Fertig.
Ja, schon an, Junge.
Drauf.
Oh, 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 oh. Boom, bitches.
Maximum spawn room.
Now, one of the things that is very different now compared to before the nerfs to the rotaries or the hailstorm is that it's much harder to kill infantry players with your air-to-air setup. In this case, I'm using the Saron laser cannon, which is the default gun of the site. And for you guys who still wonder why a lot of the more experienced pilots have switched to the default gun, it's mainly because of the ammo capacity. The biggest drawback ever of the dedicated air-to-air guns was the lack of ammo. You guys want to fight the biolab?
Yes, sir.
Now, the massive difference between ESFs and many other vehicles and classes is that the definition of whether or not you're going to do well is whether or not you can shoot people that are fighting back. Now, in a tank or in a max, you don't need to leave combat. You can take a lot more damage before you need to fall back and repair. You can also of course get repair while being in combat. But on the ground, taking cover and getting out of harm's way normally just means moving back or left or right no more than a few meters. However, when you're in the air, you normally have to go all the way to another base in order to get cover. So moving on from Alatum, I spotted these two mosses a while here. You can only see one of them. This is a Vannu player actually. I think he's a better rank 100 here on Cobalt. A lot of us pilots, we fly all three factions, so don't be surprised if you see a bad rank 15 or 20 or some such that is very experienced in their ESF. So I did pick this moment to be able to take out the first pilot before I was attacked by the second pilot. and it worked as intended. Here comes his wingman. And I did anticipate these pilots to come back. I didn't know that Ghost Falcon was gonna come back with his NC alt. And the thing about flying high like this to surprise me, that is a very effective strategy if you are able to surprise your opponent. However, if the surprise fails, it's actually quite a drawback to be above your enemy as an ESF pilot, because you can't dodge that well when you're facing down. Now in a 2 versus 1 situation like this, I normally fly a bit different than in a 1 versus 1 situation, being that I absolutely need to finish the first pilot off as fast as possible, because I just can't keep taking damage from 2 ESFs at the same time. So what I try to do in that situation is to get closer. Now this is extremely risky, especially against a Reaver, I might add, but you really don't have that many options when you have 2 ESFs at you, because whatever dodging and maneuver you do, whatever works against one pilot will of course not work against the other. Now in this situation it is really difficult to kill a bailing light assault, and I was unable to hit him in order to cancel his redeploy, so yeah, he was able to get away. Now this is of course one of the most dangerous things you can do as an ESF pilot. To take on a Liberator by yourself, it always gets my heart pumping actually. And funny as it is, ESFs are supposed to be air superiority fighters, but these air to ground pounders, they are probably the one thing you really should be careful engaging as an inexperienced pilot. But players like myself, I get shot down by Daltons more or less every day. That is if I take the risk of engaging them. I think that is one of the reasons also why a lot of players fly in big packs of ESFs rather than flying alone. But having a Liberator flying together with ESFs, that is a very strong unit composition if it's done correctly. Now you still can't fight anti-air, but if you can surprise your opponents, you can deal a significant amount of damage in a short period of time before you are forced away or killed.
Okay guys, there is each generator for each squad.
Okay, now
please follow your waypoint please.
Cover all generator. Stay on the waypoint please. Follow.
Now these guys actually Dalton me a little bit earlier, and Ghost Falcon again. Why don't you just give it up? I think this time he actually came back as an infiltrator and with the ejection seat. Anyway, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and bye for now.